Hi, I'm Mike, owner of the In Groove in Phoenix, Arizona. Today I'm going to do a video different than ones I've done in the past. So the way I kind of curate my collection is somewhat unique in the sense that I've got massive quantities of stuff coming in, whether it's collections, stuff I'm buying personally, just random records that show up into the store, people that contact me to sell me records. So when I get those records, I kind of accumulate them in cubbies at the store. And then I'll ultrasonically clean them and bring them home. I figured I would show you guys some of the stuff that I am bringing home, stuff I'm listening to a lot lately, but mainly stuff I'm bringing home and putting in the collection. A lot of times it's just stuff that, maybe is an upgrade copy. A lot of the stuff I'm going to show you is an upgrade copy, but I figured it'd be kind of cool to just talk about some stuff that's a little bit different than the normal, everyday stuff we're talking about, the new arrivals and the stuff that came out this week. It's kind of a way to look back at some stuff. So I grabbed about 20 of the records that I'm bringing home this week. Some of them, because this is my first video, some of them are within the last couple of weeks. So it's quite an assortment of stuff. So I will start here with the Rolling Stones, Sticky Fingers. This is the 1997 pressing out of the UK. Now what's unique about this is they're using some sort of, it's a digital record, but they use some XRT2277 VC HD CD digital process. This is well regarded. I've not heard this one yet, but I wanted to give this a listen. Also, on key titles like this, you never know if I'm going to do a shootout on them, or I never know if I'm going to do a shootout on them in the future. So I like to try to accumulate these as time goes on. Some shootout videos took me years to assemble records. Combination of stuff coming into the store and then a combination of stuff I've sought out. But this seemed like one to have. A lot of people say this is one of the better sounding versions of this record. Yeah, white label, says made in the UK on the back. I don't know if you could see there. It's a zippered cover, heavy gram vinyl. But yeah, let's put this over here. This next one is an upgrade. I probably had 3 or 4 of these. And what's kind of cool, when I get lately I've been seeking out really minty, cherry first pressings of these older jazz albums. This is an original Miles Davis Cookin'. Beautiful, beautiful condition. 50th Street address. Beautiful first pressing. So in my collection, I probably have about 3 or 4 of these, because I pick them up over the years, and maybe I'll have one that has a nicer cover, and then I'll get one that's like a nice cover, crappy vinyl, first pressing, but then I'll get another one that's like a really clean second pressing, like a New Jersey address. So you start accumulating these in various configurations. So I'm getting to the point now when I find really minty originals, I just purchase them like this here. And I mean, this is a really clean record. Look, let me pull it out of here so you can kind of see it. Because I can, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But look at that cover. Now this cover is not super perfect. It's got a little, this is the record that was probably stored next to. Kind of stuck to it. That will probably come off. I just don't want to play with it because that's really not damage to this cover. It's really damage. Let's see if you can see. Let's see if you can see how minty that looks. I love buying these types of records, especially of titles that I have so many copies of, because like I said, now I'll take the 3 or 4 lesser copies of this I have sitting on my shelf. I'll put it in the store. I might throw some of them on Whatnot. And I've made space on my shelf. So, I wish I was doing it 15 years ago when these things were cheaper and not buying the lesser qualities stuff, but oh well. So yeah, Miles Davis Cookin'. This is one that I think I bought on eBay. That was an eBay purchase. Okay. This, try to mix it up. Got some stuff that's all over the place here. This is just a really clean Rolling Stones, December's Children. I probably have multiple clean copies of this. It's electronically reprocessed stereo, so it's not something I would probably normally listen to, but it's clean. and it has that hype sticker. And you know, some of these 60s hype stickers are extremely difficult to get. So this is still probably an extremely clean copy. Yeah, that's still a near mint record with some light paper scuffing on it. So just figured I'd add that to the collection because of the hype sticker. No other reason. That's a collector thing. So I bought a collection about a month ago. It was a unique collection because the guy sent me a spreadsheet. He knew what he had, kind of, but he wanted too much money for it. He told me, like, look, this is what I got, this is what I want. He sent me the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet was like loaded with a lot of repress, you know, 80s Blue Note DMMs, OJC pressings, and they were notated. But the problem was he wanted crazy money for it. But I'm like, let me go take a look. Went to his house, and it was the only time I think this has ever happened to me where it was the exact opposite. To where he said he had all of these 80s reissues, but I found a lot of original stuff in there. And I mean a lot of killer original stuff. This is kind of good timing because the Blue Note of this, the Tone Poet, came out this past week, a couple days ago. Grant Green, Feeling the Spirit. True first pressing stereo. Beautiful thing was, although we had a lot of these listed as DMMs, when I got there, a lot of these were original Blue Notes and they were just in killer condition. So even though he wanted way too much money for what he had, it ended up being not a screaming deal or anything on my part, but it ended up being a fair price where before it wouldn't have been something that would have even been tenable because of what he had, you know, wanted originally. So this worked out. All of this stuff was in like VG++ near mint condition, but I got a lot of killer stuff. Here's one that's not really common. Wayne Shorter's Speak No Evil. This is a plasticite pressing. So this came out in '66. This was like right at the Liberty transition when Liberty bought Blue Note. So finding plasticite pressings of this record are extremely difficult because they got bought out by Liberty. So I don't know if you can see that, but this is a plasticite pressing. They got bought out by Liberty, so most of the pressings you see of this, and I have many of them. Actually, there's a date written on the back there. Nope, just a couple of things in light pencils, 1051. But most of the copies you see of this are just Liberty pressings. So this is a true first pressing stereo. That was in that collection. But like I said, it panned out. I'll kind of roll through them. Here's a beautiful Herbie Hancock, My Point of View, beautiful first pressing stereo. You could see by this guy's covers the condition that these were in. I also got pretty much a full run of OJCs, and look at that cover. A little bit of soiling on the back. No seam splits. But I got a full run of OJCs. They were still pretty much in there. There was some 80s DMM Blue Note stuff as well. Most of that stuff I'm going to put on Whatnot. Some is already, you know, some stuff has already been laid out in the store. I'm just separating things. Some will go to Whatnot, some will go to the store. Beautiful copy. Love this Donald Byrd, A New Perspective. Kind of the thing I like about this particular copy is there's kind of like some bleed. It's such a clean, nice white cover. It's got that beautiful jag. I always love this cover. It's got that beautiful jag E-type on the front, but kind of the coloring is bled into the white. And I kind of just love the way that this cover pops. It's one of my just, not only art-wise, it's one of my favorite covers, but this specific copy that I own because of that color bleed, it's just gorgeous. Pull that out of there. No records in the past or since beat, look at that, the quality of these original Blue Note covers. Just the photography, the layout, unbelievable works of art. They're museum pieces to me. One of the reasons I collect them. It's not really because of sound quality. The Tone Poets have bested almost all of these things. But a lot of these I actually have. I probably just don't have one that's this nice of a cover, but I probably have a copy or two of this, but I'll be able to cycle a lot of these through the store. Let's break it up a little bit. Let's see. Bought another just random collection. Had both of these in it. The Doors, Strange Days. These are 73 Japanese pressings. Not a huge Japanese fan, but if I'm ever going to do a shootout in the future of Strange Days or the self-titled, these are just going to be records that I want. So I get them and I take them home. So I've kind of got to the point now where a lot of my stuff is in Discogs. So I'll get these into the house, like that December's Children. I'll compare that against other copies I have because, you know, I'm going to keep whatever is the cleanest copy. Or like for the Miles Davis Cookin', I'll consolidate down to one copy. And then I'm bringing a lot of stuff to the store. It's actually kind of nice. Discogs has been a pain for me. It's taken 3 years just to get my rock and jazz into Discogs, but it's becoming somewhat helpful now to where I can keep track of what I have and get a lot of extras out of the store. Problem is I've got 30,000 records that are kind of, I'm holding for myself from collections I bought that I want to go through. So there's a ton of stuff to bring in. This is a great record. Rosebud. This never came out in the United States. It came out in CD just not too long ago. But a tribute to Pink Floyd. So this is a disco record. And they're essentially doing Pink Floyd tunes. So let me show you here. The back cover. Well, I can't show you the back cover, but they're essentially doing Have a Cigar, Interstellar Overdrive, One of These Days, Arnold Lane. They're doing the theme to More. I love, there's a few records that are, you know, Flaming Lips, Dark Side of the Moon, that cover album they did. I think, I'm not a Flaming Lips fan, but that record is unbelievable. This is another record that I really just, I dig. It's a solid, you know, I like disco, I like soul, and this is a French first pressing, French copy. But some of this is on YouTube if you get a chance to do, you know, if you like Pink Floyd and you like soul, you like disco, you're gonna like that. So that's just something I didn't have in my collection that I brought home. This came in another collection here within the past couple of weeks. And this is the 200 gram SVP version of Almost Famous. Almost Famous, the first version of this on vinyl was actually done by Classic Records, was an audio file. What does that come out, 2000? It's like 2000 or 2001. This is, I think, the 2008 pressing when they did it on 200 gram vinyl. But they're numbered. This is 2008 of 2500. This is a very, very difficult record to get. Even when they did the reissue of this, I thought the reissue would be a little bit more successful than it was, just because how in demand this record was. But the reissue only kind of sold marginally well. They're hand numbered in gold, 2008 of 25. So I only did 2,500 of these. This is sealed. I've never heard the Classic Records version of it. I kept it sealed, but I'm probably going to crack it open and give it a listen. I remember seeing this in the theater. I didn't think too terribly much of it at the time. The soundtrack was good. I enjoyed the soundtrack, but movie-wise, it wasn't something I was thrilled about when it came out. Just in time for Christmas, I've got maybe 5 different copies of this record. I think this is probably one of the greatest Christmas records of all time. A Christmas gift for you. Phil Spector. It's got the Ronettes, the Crystals, Bobby Sox and the Blue Jeans. It's a great record. Darlene Love. So many songs on this you've heard in movies and TV shows over the years. Even if you're not familiar with this record, you've heard every song on it multiple times. So this is a UK pressing, which I don't even know where I got this from, actually. This was just sitting in a box of I think this was part of a collection I bought during the pandemic, but it had been sitting for so long. It's, you know, something I forgot that I had. This is mono, which is really what you want all of Phil Spector stuff in. Phil Spector, Mr. Mono, known for mono. They did do some of these Phil Spector records in stereo, but for the most part, they're pretty crummy sounding. But I brought that home. I think this would be considered a grail for a lot of people. I think grail is kind of a word now to determine really high dollar record. This isn't necessarily, well, maybe in this condition, this is tough to find. I've got pretty much everything on this label. This is Jarro, little tiny label, They maybe did 12, 13 releases. The other one that goes for some money is the Kenny Dorham. But this is J.R. Montrose's The Message. An impeccably clean copy of this record I got. This is something that I had to purchase private party. You know, a lot of the high dollar jazz records don't, a lot of people think, oh, you know, you just go on eBay and you go on Discogs and you purchase these. A lot of these high dollar jazz records don't transact this way. A lot of really high dollar records in general transact within groups of people and telephone calls. But check out The Message. J.R. Montrose. Look at that cover. It is unbelievably clean. Beautifully glossy. Really no wear into the gloss. Back is nice. Record is nice and clean. There's a little bit of scuffing on it, but that could have been from manufacturing. Great record. But this pretty much completes my Jaro label. You know, I try to make some of the more important runs in jazz. I try to make a run on the label. Blue Note. You know, a lot of people try to collect all the Blue Note, all the prestige stuff. This was not the cheapest label because of this and the other record. But the other record came into the store years ago, the Kenny Dorham. But the J.R. Montrose was something I had to seek out. But that's probably one of the coolest records of it. This is like an emotional record for me here. So, this is an original live, Throwing Copper. Cool about this is this was purchased November 15th, 1996 at Rockaway Records. I love this here. A lot of people forget what buying records were like for 15, 20 years. But yeah, due to manufacturers' return policies, we cannot accept any returns on new records. Sorry. Nothing has really changed. It's just stores in general, like myself, just decided to start eating defective records. You can return things to manufacturers, but if I had a defective record come in, the 3 or 4 hours worth of labor it would take dealing with the manufacturer, getting a return set up, getting it packed and shipped off, it's complicated. It's so complicated that it becomes cost prohibitive. So I talk about this a lot on live streams to where I just don't do it. But I don't know if you guys, any of you are out there watching this, read the Washington Post article that was done some time back. I had some tragedy. I don't talk about it too much when I was younger in life. And I remember during one of those tragedies, getting into a car at the time of the said tragedy and getting picked up by a friend of the family, turned on the car, and I'll never forget, this came on the radio, Lightning Crashes. This was in 1995, so this record was really heavily played. I remember thinking to myself at the time, I'm never going to forget this moment, and I remember what was on the radio. I remember the scenery. You know, it's just like a memory that's like indented into your mind. And this is a record that I actually really like, although it's emotional for me to listen to. I don't know, because of that, I don't think I've ever seeked this record out. I kind of waited till a copy found me. Now, I actually got this in a collection a couple of years ago, but it had been sitting in a box and then subsequently sitting at the store for probably a year and a half. So finally I got a copy of it to bring. You know, I found that box and then I threw a copy. And now it'll get filed on the shelf and now it's in the collection. That's permanent. Okay. So let's check these out. I did a little bit of a shootout on both of these on a video that I never published. If you are a YouTube, one of my subscribers, like a premium subscriber, it's $2 a month. One of the things I do with that is I'll kind of run videos by guys to see their opinion. So I filmed a video, kind of a little miniature review of these two records. I compared them. I compared it to the SACD. I talk about the sound quality of it. I wasn't really thrilled with the video, but I put it out there. All of my premium members, you know, you can still go online and watch that. And I kind of, you know, asked what their opinions were. I wasn't thrilled with the video, so I never publicly posted it. It's, you know, I got it. I listened to both of these records once. I'm not enthusiastic about the Eagles though, so nobody's talking about Mobile Fidelity. I thought, let me make a video, let me review these records. It was hard to review them, and if you watch that video, if you're a premium subscriber, you'll get it, what I'm talking about here. I'm not enthusiastic when I talk about the Eagles. I just don't like the Eagles. So I was listening to this specifically for the channel and to report to you guys, but it's just the lack of enthusiasm was ever present in the video. So I just said to myself, it just didn't come off right. It didn't, I don't know. I was like fumbling like I am now, just talking about the video. I'm fumbling for words to say. They're great sounding records. They blow away anything that you're going to have previous to this, Eagles-wise. And I talk about these versus the Mobile Fidelity SACDs in that video, but I got them. They're going to go on the shelf. Will I ever listen to them again? Probably not. I'm not an Eagles fan. If they did a DSD Eagles Greatest Hits, that would be fantastic. I'd be happy with that. Maybe every now and then I'd actually put that on, but I'm not an Eagles fan. I don't foresee myself ever listening to these again, but I am a fan of these one-steps. I do like to collect them. I've collected the Mobile Fidelity label for decades, so I've almost got, kind of like the Jaro label, I almost got a complete run of Mobile Fidelity. There is a few titles that I'm missing, that I am hunting out, but for the most part, I'm trying to make a complete run, good, bad, or indifferent. Like, I'm never going to listen to the Mystic Moods Orchestra stuff from the late 70s, early 80s, but I collect it. So I got both of those, and yeah. All right. This I borrowed. So I did a Dark Side of the Moon shootout video a while back. And I actually borrowed this because I didn't have a clean copy. One of my regulars is a big-time Pink Floyd Japanese collector. He has a lot of Japanese Pink Floyd stuff. The first pressing is actually on the Blue Triangle, like the original UK pressing. So I borrowed it from him for the video, and I actually never got a copy of one for myself. So the one that was shown in the video was actually his. Then it was like 1 week back to back, I got 2 of these that came into the store. So I ended up keeping one of them. And I actually believe the guy I got it from was the gentleman who lent it to me for the video. I really think this is the copy that I used for that shootout video. I get the feeling that it is. So I'll put it on the wall. Like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of it when I did the shootout video. Not something I'll probably ever listen to, but if I ever revisit that Dark Side of the Moon shootout, I'll have it. Some more. Oh man, look at this. Here is another just absolute gorgeous, fantastic Miles Davis All-Stars true first pressing 50th Street. This will take the place of 3 or 4 copies in my collection. How nice that is. But yeah, this is a record that I purchased online. I think this was an eBay purchase maybe a month back. Like I said, even though this is the theme of this video is I'm going to try to show with like regular intervals these types of records and go through them, kind of what I'm bringing home. This one stretches a little farther back because I've had these sitting on the floor at the house here for a little bit longer. Also from that jazz collection, the last one, Dexter, A Swingin' Affair. Beautiful first pressing stereo record. Great, great. Every one of these Blue Notes were plasticite. Most of them were first pressings. Another record I just got a really super clean copy of in the store. Sly and the Family Stone, A Whole New Thing. I love Sly and the Family Stone. Play it in the store all the time. I was playing one of his records. Probably know the one I'm talking about. A couple months ago when I got yelled at in the store for playing it. Somebody told me it was wildly inappropriate. I was confused there for a minute. I'm like, I don't know how to respond to it. Like, but it's such a good, I'm thinking to myself, it's such a good record. I can't play this no more. This record's awesome. But, yeah. Whole New Thing. In the Shrink. These early Sly records are not easy. Actually, no Sly records are easy to find in good shape. Not in Phoenix, anyways. So that'll replace the copy I have in my collection. And the last record I'll show you guys, an original European pressing of Eric Clapton's Unplugged. I'll probably compare this against the Mobile Fidelity one step that came out a while back. See the difference sound-wise. I'll say on a side note, one of the things that everybody complained about with the Mobile Fidelity one step, and it was something that I didn't agree with, is they didn't like the artwork because it was this crummy, blurred out photograph. Well, let me show you guys something. Look, a crummy, blurred out photograph. That's the way the original looked. It was kind of an artistic thing, kind of to show you how it was a TV performance. And, you know, if you're around long enough to be watching TV in 1992 when this came out, if you had a state-of-the-art television, this was the image you'd see on the TV. It would be blurred out. So this is the way the cover came originally, and I think that was an artistic choice to kind of show you that this was a performance from a television show, and because of that, that's the image that Mobile Fidelity uses. But I'll probably listen to this. This is one of those records, and I talked about it when the one step came out. I was just blitzed with this for so many years growing up in that era. It's like, it's a good album, but like, man, do I really ever need to hear an unplugged version of Tears in Heaven and Layla Again from this album? I heard it so many times when it came out. But yeah, you know, tell me what you guys think of this video. If this is something that interests you, seeing more of these records that come in the past. It's kind of a cool way of me ad-libbing about newer things that are going into my collection or coming in. Maybe you'll get like that Rosebud record, that Pink Floyd disco record. Maybe you'll find something in there new every now and then. But tell me what you guys think. Like I said, I do the new arrival videos. I do reviews on stuff that are in print, but sometimes it feels to me like, you know, I don't want to do videos that are just specifically about things that are coming out this week. I kind of wanted to talk about some other records, other cool records. But yeah, tell me what you guys think. All right, guys, check us out online, theungroove.com. Until next time.